Hello, I'm Jim Rohn, and today we're going to uncover a very shocking but incredibly important truth. Why do people with an avoidant anxious attachment style often fall into the grass is greener on the other side syndrome? If you've ever felt yourself wavering in a relationship, sometimes deeply in love, other times wanting to leave, if you've ever asked yourself, am I in the wrong place with the wrong person? Then this is the video for you. You might be stuck in a psychological loop that you don't even realize. It's not because you lack affection, and it's not because the other person isn't good enough. The root might lie deep in how you learn to attach from a young age, and it's silently sabotaging your most valuable relationships. And here's the thing. The grass is greener on the other side syndrome isn't just because you haven't found the right person, but it could be a manifestation of a deeper defense mechanism, a form of learned helplessness formed from past experiences. This affects how you love, how you withdraw, and how you always feel that there might be something better out there. Believe me, once you understand this, you'll view your relationships through a completely new lens. So, if you truly want to understand yourself better, heal the invisible fractures in your emotions, and stop sabotaging love, make sure to watch until the end of this video. And don't forget to hit subscribe, because there's so much more valuable content waiting for you to explore. Have you ever wondered why you always feel like your current relationship isn't enough, and then start imagining that maybe there's someone better out there, a more comfortable relationship? This is the kind of thinking common among those with an avoidant anxious attachment style. And deeper than that, it's not just a temporary frustration. Behind this mindset is an unconscious mechanism called learned helplessness. It might sound contradictory, right? Because you think you're actively searching for something better. But in reality, learned helplessness here doesn't lie in the act of seeking externally, but in giving up on solving the issues within the current relationship. In other words, when discomfort arises in the relationship, instead of stopping to communicate, connect, or try to improve, avoidants often feel no one will understand even if I talk. No matter how hard I try, nothing will change. And then they withdraw, dreaming of a greener place somewhere else. Therefore, the issue is not that you lack the effort to love, but that you don't believe the relationship can improve through communication and understanding. This is an unconscious belief formed from the past, possibly from childhood, where you learned that your needs weren't met, so you gradually stopped expressing them. The phenomenon of learned helplessness is not just an abstract psychological concept. It originates from very specific and haunting experiments. In the 1960s, researchers Martin Seligman and Steve Meyer conducted a series of experiments in which dogs were placed in situations where they could not avoid electric shocks. The interesting part is that when these dogs were given an escape route, they still remained still, not even attempting to escape. Why? Because they had been conditioned to believe that no matter how hard they tried, nothing would change. Now, let's look at human psychology. We are also affected in a similar way. It's just that the pain doesn't come from electric shocks, but from prolonged emotional experiences in life. Especially for those with an avoidant anxious attachment style, this often originates from childhood. They grew up in an environment where their needs, emotions, and personal desires were not recognized or were even dismissed. It could be in a family where parents always prioritized others' feelings, where the child learned to suffer alone, take care of themselves, or conversely, always had to care for the emotions of others without anyone asking, "What do you need?" When this repeats over time, they gradually form an underlying belief. My needs don't matter. Even if I speak up, no one will listen. And when they grow up, they enter relationships with that mindset, not daring to express themselves, not expecting their needs to be met. And when problems arise, instead of staying to connect, they look outside, dreaming of another love. As a way to avoid that old feeling of helplessness, when entering romantic relationships in adulthood, many of us carry scars from the past, especially the tendency of learned helplessness, a psychological state that makes you feel powerless to change or improve the situation. For example, if you are someone who tends to avoid anxiety, you may fall into a spiral of thinking that when a relationship faces difficulties, there's nothing you can do to fix it. You hesitate to speak up. Don't dare to express your needs or desires, because deep down, you've been convinced that speaking up is futile. Instead of facing the issue, you choose silence and tell yourself, "Oh, never mind, trying is pointless." Imagine if this goes on a little longer. When you believe that communication doesn't bring results, that expressing yourself is meaningless, you start building the relationship in a distorted way, always trying to please the other person, secretly hoping that just being good will be enough to keep things stable. But then, moments of insecurity come, feeling unheard, disappointed that something isn't right, and you don't know how to overcome them. Learned helplessness now acts like an invisible wall, preventing you from taking action. You don't try to solve things. You don't look for ways to change, but just stand still, accept it, or worse, give up. This not only drains you, but also turns the relationship into a cycle of resignation, rather than a place for both to grow and understand each other. It's unfortunate, because with just a little courage to break through that wall, everything could have been different, more interesting, more profound, and much more worth striving for. When facing the storms in a romantic relationship, you often tell yourself, "What's the point of being vulnerable? Silence is still the safer option," or "Opening up only makes me look weak and vulnerable." These thoughts act like a curtain that blocks your inner world, preventing you from sharing what's truly going on inside. Instead of facing it, you choose to turn away from your own feelings and seek an escape by focusing on the outside world, a subtle form of avoidance that sometimes you don't even realize. It's a subconscious strategy to avoid touching on the dark corners where you feel helpless. Interestingly, you're not the only one who does this. Every attachment style has its own version of avoidance. For example, people with a dismissive avoidant attachment style often think that opening up is not worth it, so they keep their distance to protect themselves. Each insecure attachment style has a way of surrendering their helplessness in a different manner. One person may find joy in friendships to forget about issues with their partner, while another may dive into work to avoid the feeling of emptiness. Though the methods differ, the common point is that they all avoid directly facing the issue. In reality, this is like a psychological game. The more you run, the more helplessness follows. But what if one day you try to stop, look it in the eye and say, "All right, I'll try something different." Who knows, your love story might have less drama and more pleasant surprises. Each attachment style comes with its own unique way of facing or avoiding feelings of helplessness in relationships. And the interesting thing is, even though the outward expressions are different, the root cause is still the fear of being hurt and the belief that nothing can change. For example, someone with a dismissive avoidant attachment style often seeks out the perfect person, someone with whom they will never have conflicts, never have to express emotions, or resolve disagreements. They easily find faults in their partner, not necessarily because the other person has issues, but because they are trying to create a safe distance, avoiding true intimacy. And sometimes, they are also caught up in the feeling of maybe someone out there is a better match. On the other hand, a fearful avoidant person struggles between the desire for intimacy and the fear of being hurt. They find it difficult to believe that they can be loved the right way, that others will listen to them or take care of them. Therefore, when a relationship starts to face challenges, which is natural after being together for a while, they start to doubt, "Maybe I need someone else, somewhere else, to feel safer." As for someone with an anxious attachment style, they often place the responsibility of comforting their emotions on the other person. They struggle with self-soothing and gradually form the belief, "My partner should always be there to make me feel better." When you are in a relationship and trying to communicate but your partner doesn't respond, this can leave you feeling confused and disappointed. However, this is also an opportunity for you to clearly assess whether this relationship can grow or not. There are 3 important steps to help you distinguish between someone who can grow with you and someone who cannot. First, you need to ask yourself, have I tried communicating about this issue in the relationship? Especially if you have an avoidant, anxious attachment style and often think that the grass is greener on the other side, you may realize that you haven't truly confronted the issue in the relationship. Many times, we easily avoid or seek comfort elsewhere instead of directly addressing the problem. The important thing is to recognize that if you haven't truly communicated with your partner, that's not a negative thing. On the contrary, it's a sign that you still have many opportunities to improve your communication skills and develop yourself within this relationship. In fact, this is an important step to better understand yourself and your partner, while also helping the relationship progress in a positive direction. So instead of giving up when facing difficulties in communication, see this as an opportunity to learn, grow, and more importantly, to check if your partner is truly ready to embark on a journey of growth with you in the relationship. In communication, the next important step is to ask yourself, how should I express myself to be effective? Instead of diving into criticizing your partner with phrases like, "You don't care," "You don't do anything for me," "You don't text," "You don't spend time," try a different, gentler approach. Focusing only on the things that frustrate you often creates tension, pushing the other person into a defensive position. Instead, talk about what you truly desire: attention, moments together, or the feeling of being understood. This kind of communication not only opens up opportunities to solve the problem, but also builds a positive space where both of you feel valued and listened to, thus nurturing a better relationship. The third step is to set a time limit. If you are still unsure whether the person is truly the right one, try imagining, will I be happier with someone else, someone who is willing to accompany me and meet my needs? When you realize your partner is indifferent or unwilling to change, they may not be ready for what you expect. At this point, set a specific time frame to observe. This is the time you give them the opportunity to adjust, show care, and meet your desires. If by the end of the time limit nothing has changed, you will have a clearer view of the relationship. Deciding whether to continue or stop will become easier because you've given both yourself and them enough time to try. At that point, if you need to leave, you can move on without regret, confident that you've done everything possible. Life ahead will be lighter, not held back by meaningless regrets. To help avoidants overcome barriers in communication and relationships, an effective solution is to reprogram the painful limiting beliefs and negative behavior patterns, while guiding them to recognize their own needs as well as those of their loved ones. This process not only helps them break free from the cycle of dissatisfaction, but also builds the foundation for more sustainable, healthier relationships. First, reprogramming limiting beliefs begins with identifying them. Many people carry ingrained thoughts such as, "I don't deserve to be loved," "No one truly cares about me," or "If I speak out, they will abandon me." These beliefs often stem from past experiences such as rejection, hurt, or a sense of abandonment. To change, you can encourage clients to confront these beliefs by asking, "Is this really true? Is there any evidence that this isn't true?" From there, they can gradually replace negative thoughts with positive beliefs, such as, "I have value," or "I deserve to be heard." This process takes time and patience, but small steps will help them rebuild self-confidence and their perception of themselves. Next, addressing negative behavior patterns is equally important. For example, some people have a habit of staying silent when upset, or conversely exploding emotionally without control. These reactions often push relationships into a deadlock. To change, you can guide clients to practice new communication skills. For instance, instead of remaining silent and enduring, they can learn to say, "I feel sad when I'm not being noticed, and I hope we can spend more time together." Or instead of criticizing, they can express their desires gently. Regular practice will help positive behaviors become habits, gradually replacing old harmful reactions. More importantly, this solution also focuses on helping clients understand their needs in a relationship. Many people don't realize what they truly need: safety, connection, or recognition, and as a result, they don't know how to ask for them. You can assist them by asking simple questions like, "What makes you happy in this relationship?" or "What do you need to feel loved?" Once they identify their needs, they will feel more confident expressing them to their loved ones, instead of waiting for the other person to guess. At the same time, understanding the needs of those around you is key to improving relationships. Encourage clients to observe and listen not just through words but through actions. For example, if their loved one needs peace and quiet after a long day, Respecting that will foster mutual understanding. You can suggest they ask directly, "What makes you feel most comfortable when you're with me?" This kind of care not only helps them bond, but also creates a mutually beneficial environment. Finally, the process of reprogramming beliefs and behaviors needs to be sustained through continuous practice. Encourage clients to keep a journal of the small changes they notice, from how they communicate to the reactions of others. This will not only reinforce motivation but also help them see their progress. As they learn to let go of old limits and embrace new approaches, they will not only improve their relationships, but also find peace within themselves. Thank you for watching today's video. I hope that the insights shared about reprogramming limiting beliefs, identifying negative behavior patterns, and learning effective communication in relationships have given you a deeper understanding of yourself and your loved ones. The key to building healthy and happy relationships is understanding both your own and others' needs, communicating positively, and always being ready to change in order to grow together. Each step forward on this journey will bring positive changes into your life. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more videos on personal growth and relationships. Please leave your thoughts and share your story in the comments below. I'd love to hear your feedback and experiences. Thank you for taking the time to watch, and I hope we continue to learn and grow together. Wishing you a wonderful day, and always finding peace in your relationship.